And welcome to another episode of My Cool Friends. If this is your first time joining us, first let me say hello. How are you? There's punch and cookies on your way in through the door. We go live every Friday. And today, my friends, we have a very special guest with us today. She is the leader of the Fit Chicks Academy. She is the spearhead of an entire movement of women who are looking to make the world that much fitter. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands or whatever you have together for our very special guest, Miss Amanda Quinn. Welcome to the stage. It's so
thank
nice
you.
to have you here.
Thank you. This is so exciting to be here. This is actually one of the most lively interviews. Right from the jump, I'm all about this. I love it. Thank you, Ben, for having me. I'm honored to be called cool and your friend. So thank you.
Don't worry. I am also honored to be called cool, so I had to put my own label on there.
I love it.
So, Miss Amanda, it's a pleasure to sit down with you. Also, we have a greeting from the audience from Chad. He also says, "Hi, Miss Amanda."
Hello.
I will have to rip off that label and just call this the Amanda Show from now on.
No.
You are the leader of the Fit Chicks Academy.
I am.
Please, by all means, tell us what is this and how did it get started?
Of course. Well, so I'm actually one of the co-founders. So I actually founded Fit Chicks Academy with my best friend. And my best friend's name is Laura Jackson. She's an incredible human. And we started our company way back in 2008. And so if it's cool with you, I'm going to just tell you our origin because I feel like it's an interesting story of how it evolved to where it is today.
By all means, go into the origin story. I'll chime in when I see gems.
All right, cool. So basically, Laura and I have been best friends since grade 9. And to make a long story very short,
wow.
We, tried all the different fad diets and workouts and all these kinds of things when we were younger and trying to figure out our health and fitness. Couldn't really figure it out. We're just testing and trying different things. Fast forward a few years later, and fitness and nutrition just kind of became a part of who we were as people because it became something that we were doing every single day and trying to figure out.
Yeah.
Now, we ended up going and doing what we thought we were supposed to do. So went to school, went to post-secondary school, got the corporate jobs, and we both did this and we went down that pathway and we were living together at the time and we were 28 and we were just oh my gosh, why are we doing this? We feel so bored. And we didn't actually hate our job, which was so interesting. She was the international marketing manager for Hilton Hotels. And I was the manager of sponsorship and advertising for the Toronto International Film Festival. So we had cool jobs and cool opportunities for climbing the corporate ladder, so to speak.
Doing what we're told to do as children.
Right. And that's the thing is we were kind of in this movement of moving forward in that pathway of oh, I want to become a director or whatever it is that you kind of think that you're supposed to do. And we used to come home, we lived together at the time, and we used to come home from work every single day and just be is that it? Is this really all there is to life? Just feeling so blah about everything that we were doing in our day-to-day. Didn't dislike it, but just didn't really care about it.
How did you identify that? How did you there must be hundreds, if not thousands of people in that corporate life. How did you identify that you were unhappy?
Really, it was just conversation after conversation of always just feeling oh yeah, I worked for the film festival. We had great, cool things to do. And I just was it felt more annoying to have to go, or not annoying. That's not the right word. It's more I'd be oh yeah, I have to go see this film premiere. Or I have to go to meet this company for this meet. And I was most people would be really excited. And that's when I realized it's because it's not my passion. Right. And I was young enough to realize that. And I'm really fortunate that I was able to figure that out. And we were able to figure that out at a young age because it was actually at an outdoor fitness class that we that changed our lives. So we were actually like in 2008, it was in June, and we were at this outdoor fitness class together. And I remember this moment, like, because it literally changed our lives. And we were like doing crunches under the stars, and like there was music playing in the background, and we were like doing these crunches, and we were like, we sat up and we looked at each other and we were like, this is what we should be doing. This is like the thing that we actually like and we care about and we get excited about, and we like showing other people and teaching other people. And that was the moment we went home from that class, no joke, and sat at our dining room table and we're like, what do we call ourselves? And that was the moment that FitChicks was born. And like we started our company from that moment. And we were like, we registered our business as at the time it was called FitChicks. And in the original, though, we were actually going to call it Two Fit Chicks. And a really smart friend of ours had said, if you call it Two Fit Chicks, you're limiting yourself to the two of you. And I see that you guys have growth and big expansion ideas. So he's like, call it just Fit Chicks. And we're like, smart. And so that was kind of like, that was the catalyst. That was the moment that started everything. And we started our company with a boot camp program. So outdoor fitness classes, teaching fitness in the park. And I got to say, like, when we told people that we were going to teach fitness in a park, like my parents, friends, family, colleagues, they were like, you're crazy. That's so stupid. What are you doing? My dad told me at the time, he said it was the stupidest thing he'd ever heard. That was his exact words. This is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. And I was like, we're just going to do it anyways. And we're just going to see what happens.
And how like there has to be like, for one, we're getting past the point where like we realize that we're unhappy, but we also have to get past the barrier where we actually do something about it. And so how do we get past the external voices, as well as I believe there's also an internal voice that you're experiencing at the time as well? How do we get past those voices?
For sure. That's a great question. So externally, I always like to say, like, I put like my blinders on and I was like, I don't care. It's like tunnel vision. Like, I'm just going to just focus on what I want and what I'm doing and not focus on other people and limit the conversation. So when somebody would ask like, oh, what are you doing with that fitness thing or whatever, I'd just be like, oh, it's doing fine. And then I would change the subject. So I didn't have to like not have those people in my life anymore. I didn't have to cut them out because they didn't believe in it, but I just didn't talk about it. The only person that I talked to about it with was Laura, my business partner. We would be the ones that would be like up all night, planning, strategizing, marketing, like doing accounting at 11 on a Sunday kind of deal, you know, and because we actually kept our corporate jobs for a whole year. Wow. And yeah, so we kept our 9 to 5 for a whole year. And what we did, and this is the internal voice, it's nerve-wracking starting something new. And it's nerve-wracking thinking, especially like from a financial standpoint, a lot of people get like worried about like, am I going to make money? And so we kept our full-time jobs for a year to safeguard ourselves. And everything that we made for that entire year, we put in the bank. And then when we, at the end of that year, we had enough money to cover both of our salaries for a whole year. So then we were able to just like we like to say, we traded in our suits for sweats and just like, and that was it. And like, when you knew that we had
put that on a t-shirt.
Covered. I know, right? It's like trademarked. Like we literally just did that. And then we had a whole year where we didn't have to think about like, oh my gosh, you know, are we going to be able to pay ourselves? Are we going to be able to pay our rent, pay our bills? Are we going to be able to eat this month? You know, we knew that we were safe in that way. So it didn't feel as scary.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
It does, but also we're talking about like years worth of planning in the span of two minutes. So
well, we did that. Yeah. I mean, we decided to start our business like in June. It was that fitness class, and we launched our first class in September. We literally went that fast and furious. We were like, let's just do it.
Wow.
We registered our business. We made a poster. We put it up in some neighborhoods, and we run our first boot camp with 7 women signed up to our program. And we were super nervous. We were like, what if we suck? What if nobody shows up? What if they show up and they never come back? All of those things that you like worry about. And then at the end of that program, it started to grow. And then we were able to multiply our classes, multiply our locations. And we actually took that, you know, stupidest thing I'd ever heard idea and built it to a 7-figure fitness business teaching classes outside.
And
crazy.
I want to focus on that stupidest thing we've ever heard for a moment.
Of course.
Because there's like the logic brain part, and then there's like the emotional brain part of it. And the
Totally.
emotional brain part says like, oh, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. The logic brain says, oh, just go ahead and do it. What do we really have to lose? And how did you lean into like the logic brain side of it and get away from like the emotional side of it?
Okay, if I'm being really honest, I'm somebody who, and I just did this recently, like, those like strength finder quizzes and stuff. Whenever I do those,
Yeah.
my biggest strength is that I am completely a self-believer. So I'm somebody who has always
Oh.
really believed in possibility and what is possible for myself, my company. And I'm so grateful that that's one of my strengths. And so I kind of went into it without any fears, also because I also knew that if I was able to be a manager of an international company in a position like that prior to starting our company, even if it didn't work out, I knew that I could get another job. It was like that was like kind of my reminder to myself. Like I was like, hey, if this doesn't work out, I have marketable skills that I can still get another job if I need to. That was like the backup plan, the plan B, right? But the plan A was like full force. Let's just see what happens.
And you mentioned, of course, that once you got there, you had these like 7 people that joined in. What did you see from those 7 people?
Well, it's so funny because we didn't know if they would like it. And especially when we first started teaching the fitness classes, because we were partners and we only had the one location, we thought we had to teach it together. Again, everything is a learning curve, right? And so think about it kind of like WWE wrestling, like the tag teams where like one partner goes in and teach. So we would have like Laura teach for like 5 minutes and then we'd like high five and then I would teach for 5 minutes and she would teach. So awkward. Like I don't recommend it to anyone. But we didn't know. Like we were just like, let's see what happens. And we wanted to make it really even because we were partners. And but we realized that people really liked it. They really enjoyed it. They kept coming back. They kept bringing friends and family. They kept bringing their neighbors to the class. And it kind of grew from there. And they were seeing results. They were feeling really good. And I think the biggest thing that we did that we really focused on, and in hindsight, looking back, we realized that we did that, but we didn't know at the time we were doing it, is that we created an amazing inclusive environment and a community feel to our program. So it wasn't just like a boot camp where it feels very like drill sergeant-y or militant or like scary for people. We were very much more like cheerleaders for every single person and just really like bringing this like high energy vibe to classes that made people really feel like they wanted to show up for it.
How did, if you can remember, how did that, like, you're creating a community without even realizing that you're creating a community. How did that feel?
It felt really cool because like even when I think back to like even about 7 years into teaching these fitness classes, so not in the beginning, but even when I think about like 7 years in, we were still doing things without even realizing the importance of the things that we were doing. And I realized that the community that we had created was so strong because at one of my locations, I'd been teaching for so many years that people had been with me for years. They literally asked, they're like, you don't have an annual membership, but can you create one so I can just lock in my spot for the year? And that was like, I was like, wow, that's so cool. And I'm like, how are you not bored with like my jokes
that you don't have?
Yeah, I was like, how are you not bored with like my bad jokes and stuff, But they loved the classes, but they also loved the people that were in it, and so they all would sign up. I'd have the same group of people month after month, year after year, and by the end of it, so when I stopped teaching was when I got pregnant with my daughter, and when I got pregnant with her, I was like, you know what, we're moving. I'm not gonna be teaching anymore. And these women continued every Saturday. They would show up at 10 a.m. at the same location and they would take turns teaching. And that's when I felt like it was one of the biggest wins in my own career because I was like, wow, like this inspired them so much. Not just me, but everyone in here inspired each other so much that they wanted to like continue on this journey. I didn't need to be a part of it anymore. I could remove myself and still create that impact, right? And that was such a cool idea.
Right, you're still spiritually there, but you've created an important foundation.
Right. Totally.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
So I want to ask about like how has this evolved to today, where you're not just teaching classes, but now you're like almost passing the torch, so to speak, to others. How has that evolved now?
Well, so after 10 years of teaching outdoor fitness classes, actually at about 7 years in, we decided to launch our Fit Chicks Academy certifications. And our certifications were, we went through all of the red tape and all of the like crossing all of our T's, dotting all of our I's to make sure that everything was accredited and insured and everything else. And what we did was we actually created certifications to help other people to be able to get certified as fitness and nutrition coaches. So rather than it just being like me having to show up to a fitness class and teach you, you could get certified so you could teach your community, your friends, your family, etc. Right? But doing it in a way that was a holistic manner. So there's no certifications in North America that will certify someone in group fitness, personal training, nutrition coaching, and wellness coaching. And so we created it because it was needed. It was something that we knew, like, that was kind of the secret sauce to why our programs and our business grew so quickly, was that we had all aspects covered in our programming. And so then we certified people to be able to do the same thing, not following our exact model, but getting them certified to be able to offer all services in one place, like a one-stop shop, versus having to just only offer one piece of the puzzle to their clients.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so how has the magical C word, of which I cannot say on YouTube because the gods are watching me, but the magical event that occurred some random time in the year 2020, how did that event impact like both your certification as well as like the fitness space as a whole?
Right. Great question. Well, so for us, we actually stopped teaching outdoor fitness programming at 10 years. So we don't actually teach fitness classes anymore. We just teach the certifications. And that was because we thought 10 years was like a really good number to end on a really good high note and do it for a decade. We're kind of like, that's cool.
It's
right?
Circular.
Yeah. Like it kind of just felt like it was like a really good like stop point for us, especially because we like to think of our business as like, it was like a baby and now it's like a teenager, and it's like evolved with us as we've evolved as humans too. Right. So as our thoughts and our feelings and our interests and everything changed and evolved, we wanted our business to grow too. But during that time, because our certifications are 100% online, we were very fortunate that it didn't impact our business side of it. We were able to, continue exactly the same way, operating in the same manner. If anything, we probably had more growth because people were looking for opportunities to focus on their health, to focus on their wellness, to look at, a different scenario that they would feel like they had more independence, or, they had a bit more space maybe, or time to be able to focus on something for themselves.
Yeah.
So it grew in that way. And one of the things that we did in our community was we realized that a lot of coaches and a lot of trainers were in a place in the industry itself, were in a place where they were like, oh my gosh, like this is longer than I think. So I have to take my fitness business online. How do I do that? And so we actually did a free 5-day crash course on and we just built it. We were like, let's show you exactly how to take your fitness program online for free. And we just taught it all live for 5 days straight and just gave it to them.
Wow. Like the entire, hey, how do you start an online fitness business?
Correct. Like everything from like what mics you need, to like what cameras and quality and how to shoot properly and how to different exercises to use, different insurance you need, like everything from like the logistical side to the legal side to the like actually like programming side of it. Yeah.
That's huge. Are you still offering anything like that for those that might be listening?
Well, we ended up actually taking that exact program and recording it, and now we do have it, but it is an offer on our site.
Okay.
Yeah, but we did offer it for free, but it's really not expensive. Yeah, we have it as like a
Chad says finding that transition from off to online was a huge struggle for many. Yes, and 100%. That's part of like exactly why I'm just like wowed by the fact that you're just saying like, here's everything.
Yeah.
Here's just all of it.
And we did it like super. It was like very like fast and furious. Like we were like, oh my gosh, people are struggling. They need this information. We know how to do it. Let's just teach it. And we didn't have slides or anything. We literally taught it live. Like we were like typing things onto the screen, like doing it. And we're like, this is what you do. Here's a link to the camera. Here's a link to this. Here's and then obviously now the recorded version is a lot like nicer with slides and everything else. But the original version was very like raw and unedited because we were just like, how can we get this information to them as fast as possible without worrying about all the fluff and just get them the information they need.
That's the best way to do it though.
Totally.
That's
Yeah,
like,
like whiteboarding it and just being like, here
yeah.
you go.
All right, here's how you do it. This Amazon link, go there.
Exactly. Exactly.
That's and I think that's like also goes with like how you were talking about like how your classes came like had such success because it's so genuine. It's
Oh, thank you.
just so yes, it's true. It's so like you can't like there's no fluff. It's just so you.
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, it was, our classes were successful. We were very fortunate to build it to successful programs. And, when I think about even when I was teaching my bootcamp classes, one of my favorite things to do was once a week, I used to bring a different recipe of something that I would like create, like a homemade version of something. And then after class, we would all like literally just sit around and have like try like a sample of it. And then I'd give them the recipes. And again, because it was like something that I just started doing just because I thought it was fun and cool, everyone else started then being like, oh, can I bring something next week? Can I bring something? And it was just like, and that's it. Like when you think about building community in your business, I know that was your earlier question, but when you think about building your business community aspect, simple things like that is what is going to make a massive difference. And I didn't realize the difference that it was making. I was just doing it because I thought it was fun and like interesting and something new to talk about to my group.
We have a question here from Chad.
Okay, cool.
Legal side, how does that change when you go online?
I'm not a lawyer, so
internet. We're not lawyers. So I cannot be held nor denied anything. La 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 la. Legal. Blah blah blah.
Exactly. You just have to make sure that you have really good contracts and that your insurance covers you for online. Like that's from a fitness side. That was like the main things, right? Like the legal side. We actually partnered with a lawyer who developed contracts and waivers and everything for our graduates. And she's a fitness and nutrition lawyer. So she was able to then offer those to all of our graduates. So she's a lawyer. She does all of that. But I know based on the conversations with her and the information that she's shared with us is that, legally you're covered as long as you have the waivers and documents that identify exactly what you're offering and that it states that it's online. And then your insurance aspect has to state online coaching. And there's a lot of companies now, especially based on what's been happening in the world, that now for fitness and health coaches actually have online added in to their insurance. Whereas prior to a few years ago, it was really hard to find companies that would offer that.
Yeah, but now it's just
now it's just kind of like a given. Yeah, it's just kind of a given. Yeah. And legally, the way that it works is, if you were ever to run into any legal issues, and I know this again from our lawyer, if you were ever to run into any legal issues, it would then be based on the laws in your state or province versus like even if someone was like out of state. So if someone was in Canada and you were in the United States, it would be based on your state laws, not on their provincial laws.
Makes sense. One of the hacks that I do is like whenever I like sign a new contract with someone, photocopy that contract because odds are if they're doing business with a company that has like done their due diligence, that text has been looked over by a lawyer, which means you can just take that text verbatim and use it in your contracts. And so there are clauses that like will appear on every contract. Like there's a clause for like, oh hey, and like any sort of legality is done in the state of blah 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 blah. Like I've just taken that from other contracts that was already written up by other lawyers and I've put it in mine.
That's a funny hack. I like that, Ben.
Yeah.
We usually we have a couple of good lawyers that we just use to make sure that it's just like pertaining, because our business is a little different too, because it is certification. It's not like fitness programs or anything like that, but
Amanda, where can people find you and what indeed are you up to these days?
Well, people can find more information about us. They can go to our website, which is fitchicksacademy.com. They can also check us out on social platforms at fitchicksacademy. And in terms of like what we are up to right now, we're actually in the middle of a launch, which is crazy. Like we just finished a launch in September and we have a new launch that's October 31st. We have our holistic nutrition weight loss coaching certification starting. And so that's super exciting. It certifies you as a registered health coach. So we're literally in like the thick of it right now. And I love launches, and we love it because we can just see like the excitement building and all of the new students coming into the academy. But so we launch our programs 2 times per year. And so this is our final one of 2022. And then we're going to be building a whole new secret project program in November. Yeah, we're super excited about it. It's like a super secret.
What?
Yeah, we have a secret project that we're launching in the new year that we're going to be announcing for Black Friday sale. So we're going to be doing a special offer for it. But it's going to be starting in the new year, and it's a brand new certification. But it's a little more than just a certification. It's really cool. We're very, very excited about it. But as soon as October 31st hits, November 1st, we're going to start building this whole thing out, and it's going to be crazy, but it's going to be amazing.
Ladies and gentlemen, I highly recommend you go and follow her to find out what that secret prize is. Because boy, does it, because if she can't tell me here, then I'm really interested. Like, what is she not telling me? What is she not telling? What are you not telling me?
I cannot reveal our secrets. It's exciting though. And it'll be, like I said, for Black Friday sales. So if you follow us, we will announce it Black Friday weekend.
All right. Well, that just means one thing. I clearly have to go and turn off these cameras so she can go and tell me what that thing is. Well, ladies and gentlemen, like 2 times a year, she does her launches. Yes, indeed, Chad. Super secret sauce of the Krabby Patty secret formula.
Yeah.
2 times a year, she does her launches. And one of them is right now. Mm-hmm. If you are indeed watching us live or you're on the recorded, if you're too far into the future, then I'm sorry. I'll have to freeze time like JoJo and go back in time for you. If you're on the email, then good jolly you. You have done your due diligence and opened up your email. You are much more of an adult than me. Then go ahead and go and check her out, because you are in one of the peak times of the year to go and sign that up. And even if you are not in the health and fitness space, then you should go and copy and paste all of her legal documents as I have instructed you to do so.
They are written by an amazing lawyer.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been another exciting episode of My Cool Friends. Go and follow Amanda. I have been your host. My name is Ben Ebig. I am the showman of showmans. We will be back next week with another game of Trivia Murder Party and another episode of My Cool Friends. Until then, ladies and gentlemen, remember, have a safe and happy weekend. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.